The text arrived at 3:47 p.m. on a Tuesday, right as I was fixing Mrs. Henderson's garbage disposal. 37 years of marriage, and my wife Vanessa chose to blow up our lives while I was elbow deep in rotting food scraps. The irony wasn't lost on me. I want an open marriage with your brother, not negotiable. No emoji, no explanation, just pure, distilled betrayal served ice cold through a smartphone screen. I'm Alex Harper, 41 years old, ex-cop turned handyman in suburban San Diego. I've seen a lot of ugly things in my time. Domestic violence calls, drug busts, the whole 9 yards. But nothing prepared me for this moment, standing in a stranger's kitchen, reading the words that would turn my world inside out. My hands were shaking as I called her back, straight to voicemail. Of course. Hey, it's Vanessa. I'm probably living my best life in LA right now, so leave a message. Living her best life. In LA, with my brother Dylan. I finished the disposal job on autopilot, my mind racing. Vanessa had been taking these self-care trips to Los Angeles for months, staying with her college friends Tessa and Gianni. She called them networking opportunities for her HR director position. I called them expensive excuses to party like she was 25 again. But Dylan? My own brother? The drive home felt like a death march. Our house in Claremont looked the same. Spanish tile roof, drought-resistant landscaping, the basketball hoop where I'd taught our daughters to shoot. But everything had changed, with 11 words and a period. Inside, 16-year-old Chloe was doing homework at the kitchen island while 12-year-old Mia watched TikToks on the couch. Normal Tuesday afternoon stuff. They had no idea their mother had just nuked our family from orbit. "Dad, you look weird," Chloe said, not looking up from her calculus. "Like, weirder than usual." "Thanks, kiddo. Real confidence booster." I tried to keep my voice steady. "Where's your mom?" "Still in LA, she texted that she's extending her trip another few days." Chloe finally looked up, her dark eyes, my eyes, studying my face. "Something about a breakthrough with her life coach?" "Life coach? Right. Is that what we're calling Dylan now?" My brother was 34, a personal trainer who looked like a younger, more muscular version of me. Same dark hair, same jawline, but without the crow's feet and the beer gut that came from too many nights drowning sorrows at Murphy's pub. Dylan had always been the golden child. Star athlete in high school, full scholarship to SDSU, the one who made our parents proud. Me? I was the screw-up who knocked up his girlfriend senior year, joined the police academy instead of college, and spent 20 years dealing with the worst humanity had to offer, until a bad back and worse attitude forced me into early retirement. But Vanessa had chosen me, or so I thought. My phone buzzed, a text from Dylan. "We need to talk." Another buzz, this one from Vanessa. "Girls can come to LA for spring break. We'll explain everything then." Explain everything. Like there was some rational explanation for sleeping with your husband's brother, like this was a minor scheduling conflict instead of the complete destruction of everything I'd built. I poured myself 3 fingers of bourbon and sat on the back patio, staring at the fence Dylan had helped me install last summer. We'd spent the whole weekend drinking beer and talking about how lucky we were to have such great families. He'd joked about being jealous of my domestic bliss. Turns out he wasn't joking about the jealous part. The worst thing? I could see the appeal. Vanessa was still beautiful at 39. Blonde hair that cost more to maintain than my monthly grocery budget, yoga-toned body, the kind of smile that made men stupid. She'd been restless lately, talking about how she felt stuck in San Diego, how she wanted more excitement, more adventure. Dylan was excitement. Dylan was adventure. Dylan was everything I used to be before life ground me down into a cynical, sarcastic shell of my former self. My phone rang. Marcus, my best friend and the bartender at Murphy's. "You sound like someone died," he said without preamble. Marcus had zero patience for small talk. Someone did. My marriage. I told him everything. The text, Dylan, the whole sordid mess. Marcus listened without interrupting, which was why we'd been friends for 15 years. "So what's the plan?" he asked when I finished. "Plan? I don't have a plan. I have bourbon and a strong desire to burn everything down. Burning things down is a plan, just not a very good one." Before I could respond, Chloe appeared at the patio door. "Dad, Uncle Dylan's here." Perfect timing. I drained my bourbon and stood up, my knees protesting. Time to face the music. Dylan was in the living room, pacing like a caged animal. He'd always been kinetic energy personified, but this was different. This was guilt and panic wrapped in a designer workout shirt. "Alex, man, I can explain." "Can you?" I cut him off. "Can you explain how you decided to screw my wife? I'm genuinely curious about the thought process there." Mia looked up from her phone, eyes wide. Chloe appeared in the doorway, arms crossed. "Girls, go to your rooms," I said, not taking my eyes off Dylan. "But Dad," Mia started. "Now." They disappeared upstairs, but I knew Chloe would be listening from the top of the stairs. She was too smart and too stubborn to miss this conversation. "It just happened," Dylan said, running his hands through his hair. "We were talking at your birthday party, and she was so unhappy, and one thing led to another." "One thing led to another? That's your explanation?" I laughed, but there was no humor in it. "My birthday party. Jesus Christ, Dylan, that was 6 months ago." His face went pale. "Alex, I never meant for it to go this far. It was supposed to be just..." "Just what? Just a quick affair with your brother's wife? Just a little fun on the side?" The anger was building now, hot and righteous. "How long has this been going on?" 3 months, maybe 4. 4 months. While I was working 60-hour weeks to pay for Vanessa's LA trips, she was using that money to cheat on me with my own brother. "She's pregnant," Dylan blurted out. The words hit me like a physical blow. I sat down hard on the couch, the air rushing out of my lungs. Pregnant. She's not sure if it's yours or mine. Of course she wasn't, because that would make this situation too simple, too clean. There had to be maximum chaos, maximum humiliation. "Get out," I said quietly. "Alex, we need to figure this out." "Get out," I roared, standing up so fast the coffee table shook. "Get out of my house before I do something we'll both regret." Dylan backed toward the door, hands raised. "This isn't over, Alex. Vanessa and we're going to make this work, with or without your blessing." "Then you better make it work without me in the picture, because if I see you again, brother or not, I'm going to forget I used to be a cop and remember I used to be really good at hurting people." He left without another word. I stood in my living room, surrounded by family photos and memories, and felt something inside me break. Not my heart. That had been breaking slowly for months. Something deeper. Something fundamental. My phone buzzed one more time. Vanessa again. "Dylan told me he talked to you. This doesn't have to be ugly. We can be adults about this." Adults, right? Because sleeping with your husband's brother while pregnant with a mystery baby was the height of mature behavior. I typed back, "You have 24 hours to come home and explain this in person. After that, I'm calling my lawyer." Her response came immediately. "I'm not coming home, Alex. This is my life now. The girls can choose where they want to live." That's when I knew this wasn't just about a cheating wife and a backstabbing brother. This was war, and I intended to win. I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I sat in my garage, drinking bourbon and staring at the tools Dylan had borrowed over the years. My socket wrench set, my cordless drill, the pneumatic nail gun he'd used to build his girlfriend Sky's Instagram backdrop. All the little favors and loans that brothers do for each other, now tainted by his betrayal. At 6 a.m., I drove to Dylan's gym. Fitness Paradise was one of those upscale places where soccer moms paid $200 a month to use machines they could buy for $50 at a garage sale. Dylan was the head trainer, specializing in holistic wellness coaching for women who had more money than sense. I found him in the parking lot, loading equipment into his custom Harley-Davidson. The bike was his pride and joy, a 2019 Street Glide special he'd spent months restoring. Chrome everywhere, custom paint job, the works. Alex. He straightened up when he saw me. Look, about yesterday. I punched him in the mouth. It wasn't a great punch. I'm 41 and out of shape, and it had been years since I'd hit anyone. But it was satisfying as hell. Dylan stumbled backward, blood trickling from his split lip. Feel better? He asked, wiping his mouth with the back of his hand. Getting there. A small crowd was gathering, early morning gym rats with their protein shakes and judgment. Perfect. You want to do this here? Dylan asked, glancing around at the audience. In front of everyone? Why not? You didn't seem to mind an audience when you were screwing my wife. That hit home. Dylan's face flushed red. That's not how it happened. Then tell me how it happened. Tell me how my brother decided to destroy my family. He looked around at the growing crowd, then back at me. She came to me, Alex, after your birthday party. She was crying, talking about how unhappy she was, how you two barely talked anymore. So you comforted her with your penis. Someone in the crowd snickered. Dylan's flush deepened. It wasn't like that. We talked for hours, about everything, about how she felt trapped, how she wanted more from life. You were working all the time, drinking too much, barely paying attention to her. So, this is my fault? No, but... Dylan stopped, realizing he was digging himself deeper. Look, neither of us planned this. It just happened. Things don't just happen, Dylan. People make choices. You chose to betray me. She chose to betray me. Own it. I walked over to his bike. The custom paint job really was beautiful. Deep blue with silver flames. Must have cost him $5,000 easy. What are you doing? Dylan asked nervously. I picked up a socket wrench from his toolkit. Making a choice. The first swing took out the right mirror. The second cracked the windshield. By the third, Dylan was screaming at me to stop, but I was just getting started. Alex, stop. That's a $20,000 bike. And Vanessa was a 20-year marriage. Funny how easy it is to destroy valuable things. I methodically worked my way around the bike. Mirrors, lights, chrome exhaust pipes. Each impact felt like a small piece of justice. The crowd was recording everything on their phones, but I didn't care. Let them post it on social media. Let the whole world see what happened when you betrayed Alex Harper. When I finished, Dylan's beautiful bike looked like it had been through a blender. He stood there, mouth hanging open, staring at the wreckage. I pulled out a piece of paper and tucked it under what was left of his windshield wiper. Return to sender, I said loudly enough for everyone to hear. The note was simple. Next time, borrow someone else's wife. Dylan lunged at me, but I was ready. 20 years of police work teaches you to read body language. I sidestepped and let his momentum carry him into the bike. He went down hard, scraping his knee on the concrete. You're insane, he shouted from the ground. I'm calling the cops. Go ahead. Ask for Detective Rodriguez. Tell him Alex Harper said hi. Tell him about your affair with my pregnant wife while you're at it. I walked away, leaving Dylan bleeding in the parking lot next to his destroyed motorcycle. The crowd parted like the Red Sea. Someone was still recording. Good. Let Vanessa see what her choices had cost. My phone started ringing before I reached my truck. Vanessa, of course. What the hell is wrong with you? She screamed when I answered. Dylan just called me. He's hurt. He'll heal. The bike won't. You're acting like a psychopath. I'm acting like a man whose wife is screwing his brother. There's a difference. This is exactly why I can't be with you anymore, Alex. You're violent and unstable and... I hung up. Let her rant to someone who cared. The drive home was therapeutic. For the first time in months, I felt like myself again. Not the beaten-down husband who worked himself to death while his wife played house with his brother. The real Alex Harper. The one who didn't take shit from anyone. At home, Chloe was making breakfast for herself and Mia. She looked up when I walked in, studying my bruised knuckles. "Rough morning?" she asked, with the kind of dry wit she'd inherited from me. "You could say that." "Mom called. She seemed upset." "Your mother's been upset for months. She just decided to make it everyone else's problem." Mia looked confused, but Chloe understood. She was too smart not to piece together the clues. Vanessa's extended trips, the tension in the house, Dylan's guilty visit yesterday. "Are you and Mom getting divorced?" Chloe asked quietly. The question hung in the air like smoke. I could lie, tell them everything would be fine, that adults sometimes have problems, but work them out. But Chloe deserved better than pretty lies. "Probably. Your mom has decided she wants a different life, one that doesn't include me." "What about us?" Mia asked in a small voice. "You two are the best thing I've ever done. Nothing's going to change that. Whatever happens between your mom and me, you're stuck with your old man." Chloe nodded, but Mia's eyes filled with tears. I pulled her into a hug, breathing in the strawberry scent of her shampoo. "It's going to be okay, kiddo. Different, but okay." My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "This is Sky, Dylan's girlfriend. We need to talk." Interesting. Dylan's 29-year-old Instagram influencer girlfriend wanted to chat. This day was getting more complicated by the hour. I texted back, "Murphy's Pub, 1 hour." Her response was immediate. "See you there." I left the girls with promises to be back for dinner and drove to Murphy's. The bar was mostly empty at 11 a.m., just a few regulars nursing their breakfast beers and watching SportsCenter. Sky was easy to spot. 5'6", platinum blonde, the kind of artificial perfection that came from good genetics and better plastic surgery. She was nursing a vodka tonic and scrolling through her phone when I sat down. "Alex Harper," I said, extending my hand. "I know who you are." She didn't shake. "Dylan talks about you all the time. His successful older brother, the cop turned businessman." "Businessman is generous. I fix things for a living." "Yeah, well, Dylan's good at making things sound better than they are." Marcus appeared behind the bar, eyebrows raised. I ordered bourbon, neat. "So," I said, turning back to Sky, "what did you want to talk about?" She took a long sip of her drink, gathering courage. "Dylan's been cheating on me. With your wife." "I figured that out yesterday." "For 4 months, maybe longer." Her voice was bitter. "All those times he said he was training late or helping a client with nutrition planning. He was with her. Why tell me this?" "Because I want him to hurt the way he hurt me. And because your wife is a manipulative bitch who thinks she can steal other women's men without consequences." I had to admire her honesty. "What do you know about their plans?" Sky pulled out her phone and scrolled through screenshots. "Everything. Dylan's not smart enough to hide his tracks. Look at this." She showed me text exchanges between Dylan and Vanessa. Plans to move to LA together. Discussions about custody arrangements. Vanessa's promises that I'd come around once I saw how happy they were together. The most damning was from last week. "Alex is getting suspicious. We need to force his hand. I'm going to tell him about the open marriage idea. Make it seem like his choice." She played me, I said, reading the messages. Made it seem like some spontaneous decision when they'd been planning this for weeks. "Months," Sky corrected. "Look at the date stamps." She was right. The earliest messages went back 6 months, right around my birthday party. Vanessa and Dylan had been plotting my downfall since the day I turned 41. "There's more," Sky said, scrolling to another conversation. "They're planning to take your daughters to LA permanently. Vanessa thinks she can convince them that you're unstable, especially after this morning's incident." The bike. Of course. They were going to use my justified anger against me, paint me as the violent ex-husband who couldn't be trusted with his own children. Why are you showing me this? Because Dylan destroyed my life, and I want to return the favor. Because your wife thinks she's so much smarter than everyone else. And because... She paused, finishing her drink. Because you seem like a decent guy who got screwed over by people he trusted. I studied her face, looking for the angle. There was always an angle. What do you want in return? Help me destroy them. Both of them. Completely. I finished my bourbon, considering the offer. An alliance with my brother's scorned girlfriend wasn't exactly the moral high ground. But then again, neither was sleeping with your brother's wife while pregnant with a mystery baby. What did you have in mind? Skye smiled, and for the first time since this nightmare started, I felt like maybe I wasn't fighting alone. Dylan's reputation is everything in his business. Rich housewives pay him to make them feel special, desired. What happens when they find out he's a cheating scumbag who sleeps with married women? His career implodes. Exactly. And your wife? She's HR director at Morrison Industries, right? How do you think her bosses would feel about an employee who's having an affair with her brother-in-law, especially if it became public knowledge? I was starting to like Skye. She thought like a cop, methodical, thorough, focused on consequences. You're talking about mutually assured destruction. I'm talking about justice. They want to play games? Let's show them what happens when you play with professionals. We spent the next hour planning. By the time I left Murphy's, I had a strategy, an ally, and for the first time since this started, hope. Vanessa and Dylan thought they were so clever, so modern, so evolved. They were about to learn that some games have rules, and breaking them comes with a price. Time to collect. The first shot was fired on social media at exactly 6 p.m. that evening. I'd spent the afternoon with Skye, gathering evidence and planning our campaign. She might have looked like just another Instagram influencer, but underneath the perfect makeup was a sharp mind that understood how to weaponize public opinion. The post was simple, but devastating. A photo of Dylan and Vanessa kissing outside a Beverly Hills hotel, time-stamped 3 weeks ago. Skye had been following Dylan that day, suspicious about his client meetings in L.A. My caption was pure poetry. When your wife of 20 years decides she wants an open marriage with your brother, modern problems require modern solutions. Betrayal, family, you're San Diego barch cheaters. I tagged them both, along with Dylan's gym, Vanessa's company, and every mutual friend we had. Within minutes, the comments started rolling in. Holy shit, Alex. I'm so sorry, man. What a skank. You deserve better. Dylan always seemed slimy to me. This is why I don't trust anyone. The post was shared 17 times in the first hour. By 8 p.m., it had been shared over 100 times. The court of public opinion was in session, and the verdict wasn't looking good for the defendants. My phone started ringing immediately. First call was from Vanessa. Take it down, she hissed when I answered. Take it down right now. Take what down? Don't play dumb, Alex. The post, the picture, it's humiliating. Oh, you find public humiliation unpleasant? Interesting. Tell me more about that feeling. This isn't a game. You're right. Games have rules. This is war. I hung up and blocked her number. Let her communicate through lawyers from now on. The second call was from Dylan, predictably furious. You son of a bitch, you're destroying my business. Your business destroys itself. I'm just providing documentation. Fitness Paradise is already getting calls. Mrs. Kellerman canceled her training sessions. Do you know how much money you just cost me? Not nearly enough, but we're just getting started. I'll sue you for defamation. With what? The truth? Good luck with that. I hung up on him too. Brothers don't threaten brothers. He'd forfeited that relationship the moment he decided to sleep with my wife. Skye texted me updates throughout the evening. Dylan's Instagram was getting flooded with angry comments. Several of his female clients had already canceled their memberships. The gym's Yelp page was being bombed with one-star reviews calling it a homewrecker training facility. At 10 p.m., I got a call from an unknown number. "Mr. Harper, this is Janet Morrison from Morrison Industries. I need to speak with you about your wife." Janet Morrison. Vanessa's boss, the CEO of one of San Diego's largest consulting firms. "What can I do for you, Ms. Morrison?" "I'm calling about the social media posts regarding Vanessa's personal situation. As you can imagine, this is creating some complications for our company." "I can imagine it would. Vanessa's always been very professional at work." "Yes, well, professionalism extends beyond office hours in our industry. We work with family-owned businesses, conservative clients. This kind of scandal reflects poorly on our brand." I said nothing, letting her fill the silence. "I wanted to ask if you planned to pursue this matter further. Legally, I mean." "That depends on what Vanessa decides to do about custody of our daughters." "I see. Well, I hope you can resolve this privately, for everyone's sake." The message was clear. Vanessa's job was on the line. One more piece of leverage in my favor. Wednesday morning brought fresh chaos. Chloe showed me a screenshot from her friend Madison's Instagram story, a video of Dylan in the gym parking lot, standing next to his destroyed motorcycle, crying actual tears while talking to a police officer. "Dad," Chloe said, trying not to laugh, "did you really do that to Uncle Dylan's bike?" "Your uncle made some poor choices. I helped him understand the consequences. Mom's been calling all morning. She wants to talk to us." "What do you want to do?" Chloe and Mia exchanged a look, some kind of sister telepathy I'd never understand. "We want to hear what she has to say," Mia said quietly, "but we don't want to go to LA." Fair enough. I called Vanessa back and arranged a video call for that evening. Then I drove to my lawyer's office. Harold Feldman was 67 years old, built like a scarecrow, and meaner than a junkyard dog when it came to divorce proceedings. He'd handled my police pension paperwork when I retired, and I'd seen him destroy cheating spouses in court with surgical precision. "Alex," he said, gesturing to a chair across from his desk, "I saw your social media post. Subtle." Subtlety is overrated. In this case, I agree. Your wife and brother have created what we call a target-rich environment for litigation. The affair, the pregnancy, the attempt to alienate your children, it's a divorce attorney's dream scenario. He pulled out a legal pad and started making notes. "Tell me everything." I spent an hour laying out the timeline, showing him Sky's screenshots, explaining Vanessa's threats about taking the girls to LA. "This is good," Harold said when I finished. "Very good. California is a no-fault divorce state, but adultery still matters for custody and spousal support decisions, especially when children are involved." "What's our strategy?" "Full custody, minimal spousal support, and we make them pay for their own legal fees. Your wife wants to play house with your brother? She can do it on her own dime." "What about the pregnancy?" Harold's smile was predatory. "DNA tests are wonderful things. If the baby is yours, we'll deal with it. If it's your brother's," he shrugged, "not your problem." That evening, the video call with Vanessa was exactly as painful as I'd expected. She looked tired, older somehow, sitting in what I recognized as Tessa's Beverly Hills apartment. "Girls," she began, her voice artificially bright, "I know this is confusing, but I want you to understand that sometimes adults make difficult decisions." "Like sleeping with Uncle Dylan?" Chloe asked bluntly. Vanessa's composure cracked slightly. "Chloe, that's not... It's more complicated than that. Seems pretty simple to me. You cheated on Dad with his brother. Now, you want us to pretend that's normal. Your father and I haven't been happy for a long time. We grew apart. Dylan and I found something special together, something real." "What about Dad?" Mia asked, tears in her eyes. Doesn't he get to be happy? Of course he does, sweetheart, but sometimes people want different things from life. I want adventure, excitement, new experiences. Your father wants stability. The way she said stability made it sound like a disease. I want you both to come visit me in LA for spring break. You can meet Dylan properly, see how happy we are together. Maybe you'll understand. No, Chloe said firmly. We're not coming to LA. We're staying with Dad. Vanessa's mask slipped completely. Chloe, you don't understand the situation. Your father is unstable. He destroyed Dylan's motorcycle. He's posting private family matters on social media. That's not normal behavior. Neither is cheating on your husband, Chloe shot back. You're being manipulated by your father's anger. He's turning you against me. Nobody's turning us against you, Mom. You did that yourself. The call ended with Vanessa in tears and both girls hugging me. Whatever damage she'd hoped to do to my relationship with my daughters had backfired spectacularly. That night, after the girls went to bed, I sat on the back patio with a bourbon and planned my next move. The social media campaign was working. Dylan was hemorrhaging clients, and Vanessa was facing pressure at work. But it wasn't enough. They'd hurt me in the most fundamental way possible. They deserved consequences that matched the crime. My phone buzzed. A text from Sky. Dylan's meeting with a lawyer tomorrow. Fitness Paradise is considering firing him. Also, I have an idea for Phase 2. I texted back, I'm listening. Dylan's doing a fitness expo this weekend at the convention center. Big public event, lots of his clients will be there. What if something happened to embarrass him, publicly? I smiled in the darkness. Sky really did think like a cop. What did you have in mind? Leave that to me. Just be ready with your phone to record everything. This was getting interesting. Vanessa and Dylan wanted to play games? Fine. But they were about to learn that some games end with only one winner, and I intended to be that winner. Saturday arrived with perfect California weather. 75 degrees, cloudless sky, the kind of day that made tourists think San Diego was paradise. I spent the morning with my daughters, making pancakes and pretending everything was normal, while internally counting down the hours until the fitness expo. Sky had been mysterious about her plan, only telling me to arrive at the convention center at 2 p.m. with my phone fully charged. She'd been busy all week, and Dylan's Instagram posts showed increasing desperation as more clients canceled their sessions. The fitness expo was exactly what I'd expected. Hundreds of perfectly sculpted people in expensive workout clothes, sampling protein powders, and pretending to care about the latest exercise trends. Dylan had a booth near the main stage, promoting his Holistic Wellness Revolution program. He looked terrible. The confident swagger was gone, replaced by nervous energy and dark circles under his eyes. His assistant, a 20-something brunette named Jessica, was handling most of the customer interactions while Dylan obsessively checked his phone. I positioned myself near the smoothie bar with a clear view of his booth, phone ready. At exactly 2:15, Sky appeared. She looked spectacular. Tight workout clothes that showed off her Instagram-famous curves, hair and makeup perfect, despite supposedly being there for fitness activities. She walked straight to Dylan's booth like she owned the place. "Dylan!" she called out loudly, her voice carrying across the convention floor. "Baby, I've been looking everywhere for you!" Dylan's face went white. "Sky, what are you doing here?" "What do you mean? I'm supporting my boyfriend at his big expo." She threw her arms around him in an exaggerated hug, making sure everyone nearby could see them together. "We need to talk," Dylan said quietly, trying to guide her away from the booth. "Talk? About what? About how much I love you? About how excited I am for our future together?" Her voice was getting louder, drawing more attention. I started recording. "Sky, please. Oh, I know what this is about. You're worried I found out about your little training sessions with that married woman, Vanessa Harper, right?" The name carried across the expo floor like a gunshot. Conversations stopped, heads turned. Dylan's potential clients suddenly found the protein powder samples very interesting. That's not... I can explain... Explain what? How you've been sleeping with your trainer's wife for months? How you got her pregnant? How you destroyed your own brother's marriage? Dylan grabbed her arm, trying to pull her aside, but Sky was just getting started. "Don't touch me!" she yelled, jerking away. "I'm not the one you should be grabbing. Where's your pregnant girlfriend? Where's Vanessa? I thought you two were so in love." A crowd was gathering now. Phone cameras appeared like mushrooms after rain. Dylan's professional reputation was being executed in real time, broadcast live to social media. "Security!" Dylan called out desperately. "Security?" Sky laughed. "For what? Telling the truth? Ladies!" She turned to address the growing audience directly. "This is Dylan Harper, and I want you all to know what kind of man he really is." She pulled out her phone and started reading from their old text messages. "Sky's getting suspicious. We need to be more careful." That's what he texted Vanessa last month. "Tell Alex about the open marriage thing. Make it seem like his choice." The crowd was eating it up. Nothing like a good public meltdown to spice up a boring fitness expo. Or how about this one? Once we get the kids to LA, Alex won't have any leverage. He'll have to accept the situation. Dylan made one last desperate attempt to control the situation. "She's lying. She's my ex-girlfriend. She's trying to ruin me because I broke up with her." "Broke up with me?" Sky's voice reached new heights of indignation. "You didn't break up with me. You've been cheating on me with your brother's wife. You got her pregnant. You destroyed your own family." She turned back to the crowd. "This man will sleep with anyone. Married women, his clients, probably your wives if you give him the chance. Is this who you want training your daughters?" That last line was a masterpiece. The crowd turned ugly fast. Dylan's remaining clients started backing away like he had a contagious disease. Jessica, his assistant, quietly started packing up the booth materials. Security finally arrived, two bored-looking guards who clearly didn't want to get involved in a domestic dispute. "Ma'am, we're going to have to ask you to leave," one of them said to Sky. "Of course, I've said everything I came to say." She looked directly at Dylan. "Good luck with your new life, baby. Hope it was worth it." She walked away with her head held high, leaving Dylan standing in the wreckage of his career. The crowd slowly dispersed, but the damage was done. I could see people already posting videos to their social media accounts. I followed Sky outside, where she was leaning against her car, shaking slightly from the adrenaline. "How do you feel?" I asked. "Like I just ran a marathon. But good, really good." She looked up at me. "Did you get it all?" "Every beautiful second." "Good. Post it everywhere. Make sure the whole world sees what kind of man Dylan Harper really is." I was already uploading the video to Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. The caption wrote itself: "When you destroy your brother's marriage and your girlfriend finds out, karma is a beautiful thing. Justice, check cheaters. San Diego, check karma." My phone started buzzing immediately. Comments, shares, likes. The video was going viral in real time. "What's next?" Sky asked. "Now we wait. Dylan's career is finished. Vanessa will have to choose between supporting an unemployed boyfriend or coming home to deal with the custody battle." "You think she'll come back?" "No, but she'll have to face the consequences either way." That evening, I was having dinner with Chloe and Mia when Vanessa called. I put her on speaker. "Alex, you have to stop this," she said without preamble. "The video, the social media posts, everything. You're destroying Dylan's life." "Dylan destroyed his own life. I'm just providing documentation. He lost his job. Fitness Paradise fired him this afternoon. He can't get work anywhere in San Diego now. Consequences. They're a real thing. This isn't just about Dylan. It's affecting me too. My boss called me into a meeting today. They're considering putting me on administrative leave." "That's unfortunate. Maybe you should have considered the professional implications before sleeping with your brother-in-law. Dad, Chloe interrupted, is Uncle Dylan really unemployed now? Apparently so. Good, she said, going back to her pasta. He deserved it. Even my 12-year-old daughter understood justice better than her mother. Alex, please, we can work this out. Dylan and I will move away, start fresh somewhere else. You can have full custody of the girls. Just stop the public humiliation. Now you want to negotiate? After months of planning behind my back? After trying to steal my children? We never tried to steal them. Once we get the kids to LA, Alex won't have any leverage. Ring any bells? Silence. She'd forgotten about those text messages. I want a divorce, Vanessa. Full custody, minimal spousal support. You and Dylan can move to Mars for all I care, but you're not taking my daughters anywhere. And if I agree? Then maybe the social media campaign ends. Maybe I stop sharing videos of your boyfriend's public meltdowns. You're blackmailing me. I'm negotiating from a position of strength. There's a difference. After she hung up, Mia looked at me with serious eyes. Dad, are you and Mom really getting divorced? Yeah, kiddo, we really are. Will we still see her? If you want to, but you'll live here with me. Good, she said, echoing her sister's sentiment. I like it better here anyway. That night, I checked the video stats. Over 50,000 views across all platforms. Hundreds of comments, mostly supportive. Dylan Harper's reputation was officially destroyed. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. This isn't over. You'll pay for what you've done to us. I showed it to Sky, who laughed. Empty threats from desperate people. Dylan's too broken to do anything, and Vanessa's too worried about her own career. Still, I should be careful. Desperate people do stupid things. Let them try. We have evidence of everything. They make one wrong move and we'll bury them completely. I was starting to believe her. For the first time since this nightmare began, I felt like I was winning. But the war wasn't over yet. Vanessa and Dylan still had cards to play, and desperate people were unpredictable. I just hoped I was ready for whatever came next. Monday morning brought unexpected visitors. I was in the garage, organizing my tools and enjoying the peace of routine maintenance, when Chloe burst through the door. Dad, there are police officers at the front door. My blood ran cold. This was either about Dylan's motorcycle or something much worse. I found 2 uniformed officers on my front porch, Officer Martinez and Officer Chen, both young enough to be my kids. They looked uncomfortable, which meant this wasn't a simple vandalism complaint. Mr. Harper, we need to ask you some questions about an incident involving your brother, Dylan Harper. What kind of incident? He filed a report claiming you've been stalking and harassing him. He says you destroyed his property and have been conducting a campaign of intimidation. I almost laughed. Intimidation? Have you seen the social media posts? That's part of his complaint. He's asking for a restraining order. Of course he was. When you can't win with facts, you try to win with legal technicalities. Officers, I haven't contacted my brother since last Tuesday when I found out he was sleeping with my wife. Everything I've posted online is factually accurate and based on evidence. What about his motorcycle? I damaged his motorcycle after discovering he'd been having an affair with my wife for 4 months. I was upset. I made a poor choice. I'm willing to pay for the damages. Officer Martinez made notes while Officer Chen studied my face. Mr. Harper, we understand this is a difficult situation, but you need to stay away from your brother and his place of employment. His place of employment fired him on Saturday, and I have no desire to see him again. Just the same, we're advising you to maintain distance. Let the lawyers handle everything from here. After they left, I called Harold Feldman. They're getting desperate, he said, after I explained the police visit. A restraining order is a common tactic in custody battles. They're trying to paint you as unstable and dangerous. Will it work? Not with the evidence we have. Dylan's affair with your wife undermines any claim that you're the aggressor here, but we need to be careful. No more social media posts, no more contact with either of them. What about Sky? She can do whatever she wants. She's not bound by any court orders. That afternoon, Sky called with interesting news. Dylan's moving out of his apartment. I saw him loading boxes into a U-Haul this morning. Where's he going? My guess? LA, to play house with your wife. But here's the interesting part. He looked scared. Really scared. Like someone was chasing him. Maybe someone is. His career is destroyed, his reputation is shot, and he's got no income. That's enough to scare anyone. There's something else. I followed the U-Haul to a storage facility in Oceanside. He's not just moving, he's running. That evening, Vanessa called for the first time in 3 days. Alex, we need to talk, in person. I thought you weren't coming back to San Diego. Plans change. I'm flying in tomorrow morning. Can you meet me at the house? Our house? The one you abandoned to shack up with my brother? It's still half mine until the divorce is final. She had a point, legally speaking. Fine. What time? Noon. And Alex? Come alone. After I hung up, I called Harold. She wants to meet tomorrow at the house. Don't go alone. Bring a witness. Better yet, bring a recording device. You think she's up to something? I think desperate people do desperate things, and your wife is running out of options. Tuesday morning, I dropped the girls at school and drove home to wait for Vanessa. I set up my phone to record audio and called Marcus to come over as a witness. Vanessa arrived exactly at noon, driving a rental car I didn't recognize. She looked different, thinner, more fragile somehow. The confident woman who'd destroyed our marriage with a text message was gone, replaced by someone who looked like she hadn't slept in weeks. Alex. She nodded to Marcus. I asked you to come alone. Marcus is staying. You lost the right to make demands when you decided to sleep with my brother. She sat down at our kitchen table like she still belonged there. I want to make a deal. I'm listening. Full custody to you. No spousal support. I'll sign whatever papers your lawyer draws up. It was everything I wanted, offered without a fight, which meant there was a catch. What do you want in return? I want you to stop. The social media posts, the public humiliation, all of it. Dylan's career is destroyed. He can't find work anywhere. We're living on my savings. That's not my problem. It is when the baby comes. If it's yours, you'll be financially responsible regardless of our custody arrangement. The baby. I'd almost forgotten about the pregnancy and all the chaos. Have you taken a paternity test? Not yet. But Alex... She paused, gathering courage. I need to tell you something about the timeline. Marcus and I exchanged glances. This was about to get interesting. The affair with Dylan started after I was already pregnant. The baby is yours. The words hit me like a physical blow. What? I found out I was pregnant 2 weeks before your birthday party. I was going to tell you that night, but then we had that fight about money, and you stormed out to Murphy's pub. I felt so alone, so unwanted. So, you decided to sleep with my brother? I was confused, emotional. Dylan was there. He listened to me, made me feel desired again. One thing led to another. But you let me think the baby might be his. Because I was angry. Because I wanted to hurt you the way you'd been hurting me for months. I stood up and walked to the window, trying to process this information. The baby was mine. My child was growing inside a woman who'd betrayed me in the most fundamental way possible. Why tell me now? Because Dylan wants me to get an abortion. He says we can't start fresh with your baby. But I can't do that, Alex. Whatever's happened between us, this is still our child. Marcus cleared his throat. Maybe I should leave you two alone for this conversation. No, I said quickly. Stay. I turned back to Vanessa. So what's the plan? You keep the baby, move to LA with Dylan, and I pay child support for 18 years? Dylan doesn't want the baby. He made that very clear. If I don't get the abortion, he's leaving me. And you want me to save you from the consequences of your choices? I want our child to have a father, a real father, not some man who sees them as an inconvenience. The manipulation was masterful. Appeal to my protective instincts, make me the hero who saves both her and the baby from Dylan's selfishness. What exactly are you proposing? I'll move back to San Diego. Not here, obviously, but somewhere close. We'll co-parent the baby. You get full custody of the girls, I get visitation rights. We try to be civil for the children's sake. And Dylan? Dylan gets nothing. He made his choice. I looked at Marcus, who shrugged. The decision was mine. I need time to think about this. I don't have time, Alex. Dylan's pressuring me to make a decision. If I don't get the abortion by Friday, he's leaving for Phoenix. He has a job opportunity there. Then let him leave. And then what? And I'm a single mother with 3 children and no support system. You should have thought of that before you decided to blow up our family. Vanessa started crying, real tears, not the manipulative kind she'd used during our marriage. I know I made terrible choices. I know I hurt you and the girls. But this baby didn't make those choices. This baby is innocent. She was right about that. Whatever anger I felt toward Vanessa, the child growing inside her was mine. My responsibility. I'll give you an answer Thursday morning. That gives you time to make your decision about Dylan. Alex, Thursday morning, not before. After she left, Marcus and I sat in silence for a long time. What are you thinking? He finally asked. I'm thinking this whole situation just got a lot more complicated. You could demand a paternity test, make sure she's telling the truth about the timeline. I could. But what if she's right? What if the baby is mine? Then you'll deal with it, like you deal with everything else. That night, I called Harold and explained Vanessa's offer. It's a good deal, he said after thinking it over. Full custody, no spousal support, and she takes responsibility for her own choices. The baby complicates things, but if it's yours, you'd be responsible anyway. What about Dylan? What about him? If he leaves for Phoenix, he's out of your life forever. Problem solved. It feels too easy, like she's got another angle I'm not seeing. The garage door rattled shut behind me, sealing in the dim fluorescent light and the familiar tang of WD-40 and old paint cans. I stayed seated on the rolling stool, elbows on my knees, staring at the concrete floor where a faint oil stain still marked the spot where Dylan's motorcycle used to leak. I'd never liked that bike. Too loud, too reckless, just like him. Now the stain felt like a scar I could finally stop picking at. I pulled out my phone and opened the family group chat, the one Vanessa had started years ago for birthday reminders and soccer schedules. No new messages since last week. I typed, deleted, typed again. Girls, Mom and I need to talk to you this weekend. Nothing bad, just important family stuff. Love you both. Dad. Sent. The reply came fast from Mia, the older one. Everything okay? Everything will be, I answered. Promise. I stood, stretched the ache from my back, and walked inside. The house smelled like the lavender candle Lily insisted on lighting every evening, her way of making things cozy. I found both girls in the living room sprawled on the couch with tablets, homework half done. Bedtime in 30, I said. But first, ice cream run tomorrow after school? Just us 3. Their heads popped up in unison. Yes! Lily cheered, fist pumping. Mia studied me a second longer, eyes narrowing the way Vanessa's used to when she sensed something off. You sure you're okay, Dad? I forced a smile that felt almost real. Getting there, kiddo. Friday arrived with a marine layer that clung to the coast like reluctance. Vanessa texted at 8:17 a.m. He's on the road, Greyhound to Phoenix, then wherever after that. Screenshot of the ticket attached. I kept my word. I opened the image. Dylan's name, a one-way ticket, departure time 6:45 a.m., gone. Not dead, not ruined, just absent. The city would feel smaller without him in it, and that was enough. I didn't reply. Instead, I drove the girls to school, kissed their foreheads through the open window, watched them disappear into the crowd of backpacks and laughter. Then I headed to the office. The morning passed in a haze of invoices and supplier calls. At lunch, I met my lawyer, Carla, at a quiet taqueria near the harbor. She slid a manila envelope across the table. Settlement draft. 50-50 on assets except the house. You keep it. She gets the equity difference in cash over 5 years. Joint custody, but she's primary during the school week unless she relocates. Child support standard formula. No alimony. Prenup holds. I flipped through the pages. Clean, fair, final. Any surprises? I asked. She initialed every change, even the clause about no contact with Dylan near the girls until they're 18. She fought that one hard, then folded. I signed where the yellow tabs directed. Send it over. Let's get this done before the weekend. Carla studied me. You're calm. Most guys are either screaming or crying at this point. I was both already, I said. Now I'm just done. She nodded. Smart. You protected the kids and your future. That's winning. I didn't feel like a winner. I felt like a man who'd finally stopped bleeding. Saturday morning, the girls and I loaded the car with beach towels, a cooler, and the ancient boogie boards we hadn't used since last summer. Vanessa arrived at 10 sharp, eyes puffy but dry, wearing the oversized hoodie she used to steal from me. She hugged the girls tight, whispered something that made Lily giggle, then looked at me. Alex. Vanessa. We stood in the driveway like strangers negotiating a ceasefire. I'll pick them up Sunday at 6, she said. And thank you for not making this uglier. I glanced at the girls buckling themselves in. This is for them, not us. She nodded once, stepped back. I got behind the wheel and drove toward the coast. The beach was crowded but not unbearable. We built a lopsided sand castle, chased waves until our legs burned, ate greasy fish tacos from the vendor with the red umbrella. Mia asked, hesitant, Is Mom moving out for good? I took a breath. Yeah, but you'll see her all the time. Different houses, same rules. We're still your parents. Lily frowned. Does this mean no more family movie nights? We'll figure out new traditions, I said. Maybe movie nights at Mom's house too. Or pizza Fridays here, whatever works. They nodded, processing in that quiet way kids do when the world shifts under their feet. Later, as the sun dipped low and painted the water gold, Mia leaned against my shoulder. I'm glad you didn't yell at Mom. I kissed the top of her head. Me too. Sunday evening, Vanessa arrived on time. The girls ran to her with hugs and stories about jellyfish and sunburns. I handed over their backpacks, watched them pile into her car. She looked at me through the open window. I'm sorry, Alex. For all of it. I held her gaze. I know. And I'm sorry for the parts I missed. But sorry doesn't rebuild trust. It just lets us both move on. She nodded, tears brimming but not falling. Take care of them. Always. The taillights disappeared down the street. I stood in the driveway until the neighborhood quieted, then went inside. The house felt empty, but not hollow. I poured a glass of the bourbon I'd hidden in the pantry for months, sat on the couch, and opened my laptop. No burner accounts, no revenge folders, just a blank document titled New Normal. I typed one line. Day 1. We survived. Then I closed the screen, turned off the lights, and slept in the middle of the bed for the first time in years. The anger hadn't vanished. It had simply lost its grip. What remained was space. Space for the girls' laughter, for quiet mornings, for the slow work of becoming someone who didn't define himself by what was taken. Rebuilding wasn't dramatic. It was daily, deliberate, mine. And that was enough. Friday morning arrived with the kind of marine layer that made San Diego feel like a different city, gray, cool, and somehow more serious. I was drinking coffee on the back patio when Sky called. Dylan's loading the U-Haul right now. Looks like he's really leaving. Good. Let him go. You don't want to watch? See him drive away with his tail between his legs? I've seen enough of my brother to last a lifetime. But even as I said it, I found myself getting dressed and driving toward Dylan's apartment complex. Some things you need to witness for yourself. I parked across the street and watched Dylan load the last of his belongings into the U-Haul. He moved like a broken man, shoulders slumped, no energy, none of the cocky swagger that had defined him for 34 years. Skye was right. He looked defeated. Part of me felt satisfaction. This was justice, consequences for choices made. But another part, the part that remembered teaching him to ride a bike, helping him with homework, being his best man at his wedding to his first wife, felt something that might have been sadness. Dylan finished loading and stood next to the truck, checking his phone. Probably waiting for Vanessa to call, to change her mind, to choose him over the baby and me. The call never came. At exactly 10 a.m., Dylan climbed into the U-Haul and drove away. I watched until the truck disappeared around the corner, taking my brother out of my life forever. My phone buzzed. A text from Vanessa. He's gone. It's over. I typed back. Good. When do you want to start discussing custody arrangements? Can we meet this weekend? I found an apartment in Hillcrest. Close enough for co-parenting, far enough for space. Saturday afternoon. Bring your lawyer. That evening, I told Chloe and Mia about the new arrangements. They took it better than I'd expected. Kids are remarkably adaptable when adults stop creating chaos around them. So Mom's moving back, but you're still getting divorced? Chloe asked. Yes, sometimes adults can work together for their children even when they can't be married anymore. And Uncle Dylan is gone forever? Forever's a long time. But yes, he's not part of our lives anymore. Good, Mia said firmly. I didn't like him anyway. He always smelled like protein powder. Saturday's meeting was surprisingly civil. Vanessa brought a lawyer, a sharp-dressed woman named Patricia Reeves who specialized in family law. Harold and I sat across from them at a conference table in Patricia's office, hammering out the details of our new reality. Full custody to me, with Vanessa getting supervised visitation until the baby was born. After that, we'd reassess based on her stability and living situation. No spousal support, but I'd contribute to medical expenses for the pregnancy. What about the social media posts? Patricia asked. My client would like assurance that the public humiliation will stop. It stops today, Harold replied, but the existing posts stay up. They're part of the public record now. Vanessa winced, but nodded. The price of her choices would follow her forever, searchable on Google for anyone curious about her past. We signed papers, shook hands like civilized adults, and went our separate ways. It felt anticlimactic after months of warfare. That evening, I deleted my social media accounts. The war was over. Time to focus on rebuilding. 3 months later, I was installing a new kitchen faucet for Mrs. Rodriguez when my phone rang. Unknown number. Alex? It's Skye. Hey, how are you doing? Good. Really good, actually. I wanted to call and thank you. For what? For helping me get my life back. I know we were both motivated by revenge, but working with you showed me I was stronger than I thought. You didn't need my help for that. You had it in you all along. Maybe. But still, thank you. Oh, and I thought you should know. Dylan's back. My blood went cold. Back where? San Diego. I saw him at the grocery store yesterday. He looked terrible, skinny, unshaven, like he'd been living in his car. Did he see you? Yeah. He tried to talk to me, but I walked away. Alex, he asked about you. Asked if you were still angry, if you might be willing to talk. What did you tell him? I told him that bridge was burned, but he seemed desperate, really desperate. I thought you should know. After she hung up, I sat in Mrs. Rodriguez's kitchen, trying to process this information. Dylan was back, which meant the Phoenix job hadn't worked out, which meant he was probably broke, unemployed, and looking for someone to blame for his problems. I called Harold immediately. "The restraining order is still active," he said after I explained. "If he contacts you or comes near your property, call the police." "What if he tries to contact Vanessa?" "That's her problem. You're divorced now, remember? Her drama isn't your responsibility anymore." But I couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't over. Desperate people do desperate things, and Dylan had nothing left to lose. That night, I checked all the locks on the house and made sure my security cameras were working. Old cop habits die hard. Sunday morning brought validation for my paranoia. I was making breakfast when Chloe looked out the front window and froze. "Dad, Uncle Dylan's in our driveway." I looked outside. Dylan was sitting in a beat-up Honda Civic, staring at the house. He looked exactly like Skye had described. Thin, unshaven, hollow-eyed. "Girls, go to your rooms. Now." "But Dad, now!" I called 911 first, then stepped onto the front porch. Dylan got out of his car when he saw me. "Alex, we need to talk." "You need to leave. There's a restraining order." "I know, but please, just 5 minutes. I'm desperate here." He looked it. The confident, successful trainer was gone, replaced by a broken man in dirty clothes. "I lost everything," he continued, walking closer. "The job in Phoenix fell through. I'm living in my car. I haven't eaten in 2 days. That's not my problem. You're my brother. Brothers don't sleep with each other's wives. I made a mistake, a terrible, stupid mistake, but I'm paying for it now. Isn't that enough?" I could hear sirens in the distance. The police were coming. "It'll never be enough, Dylan. You didn't just betray me. You tried to steal my children. You tried to destroy my family." "I know, and I'm sorry. I'm so fucking sorry." The police cars pulled into my driveway. 2 units, 4 officers. Dylan saw them and his shoulders sagged. "Please, Alex. I'm begging you. Help me." For a moment, looking at this broken shell of my brother, I almost felt pity. Almost. Then I remembered Vanessa's text about the open marriage. I remembered the plans to take my daughters to LA. I remembered 4 months of lies and betrayal. "Officer Martinez," I said to the approaching policeman, "this man is violating a restraining order." Dylan didn't resist as they handcuffed him. He just looked at me with hollow eyes and said, "I hope you're happy now." "I'm not happy, Dylan, but I'm at peace. There's a difference." They drove him away in the back of a patrol car. I never saw my brother again. 6 months later, Vanessa gave birth to a healthy baby boy. We named him David, after my father. The DNA test confirmed what she'd told me. He was mine. Co-parenting with my ex-wife was awkward, but functional. We managed to be civil for the children's sake, though the trust would never return. Some things, once broken, can't be repaired. Chloe graduated high school with honors and got a full scholarship to UC San Diego. Mia discovered a talent for photography and spent her weekends documenting life in our neighborhood. David grew into a happy, curious toddler who had no idea his parents had once tried to destroy each other. I never remarried. Some men aren't built for second chances, and I'd learned to find contentment in simpler things: my work, my children, the satisfaction of fixing things that were broken. Sometimes late at night I'd wonder what happened to Dylan, whether he'd found work somewhere, gotten his life together, learned from his mistakes. But those thoughts never lasted long. He'd made his choices, and I'd made mine. The last social media post about our family drama had been shared over 1 million times across various platforms. It became a cautionary tale, a reminder that actions have consequences and that some betrayals can't be forgiven. People sometimes asked if I regretted the public humiliation, the destruction of Dylan's career, the scorched earth approach to my divorce. I never did. Some stories don't have happy endings. Some wounds don't heal. Some bridges, once burned, should stay that way. But justice? Justice is its own reward. And in the end, that was enough.